Tonight, the National Security Minister is taking a zero-tolerance approach to the growing trends of events, calling for partygoers to attend wearing no underwear. With sea swells that could generate waves up to 12 feet, Express the Zeal suspends strips, and the Fisheries Department has urgent caution for fishers and small craft operators. And Prime Minister Anand Shastri will address the nation on Sunday. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Loveless and Amy David.
Good night. It is Thursday, the 9th of January 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We're on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM. You can watch via our website. It's www.caribbeanhottv.com or on our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. You can also catch the broadcast on social media on our Caribbean Hot TV Facebook page. I'm lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. National Security Minister Hermangild Francis is taking an absolute no-nonsense approach to the growing trend of events, calling for partygoers to attend wearing no underwear. Less than a week after an event caused uproar for the same reasons, Minister Francis says this will not be tolerated, and his ministry, alongside the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, will do all in its power to prevent and even shut down such events.
Less than 1 week after the event called Hypnotize No Underwear Pool Edition was cancelled due to the uproar and backlash it stirred up, the island's National Security Minister Hermangild Francis has spoken out about it, saying such events should never see the light of day, so to speak. Hypnotize was scheduled for the 1st of February. However, the event was not the first of its kind. In fact, another similar event, this one even more blatant, carrying the name No Underwear, seemingly flew under the radar and took place on the 26th of December. Francis said upon hearing about Hypnotize, he made the call to see to it that the event was investigated immediately.
I don't think, as a Christian country, that we should encourage these sort of things. And I've informed the police and I've asked them to be very vigilant and to look at these advertisements. And as long as these advertisements come out in that form, that we are going to clamp down on it. There is no room for this sort of nudity and lewdness in our society. And as long as we identify it, we're going to stop it.
Francis said the young people who attend such events have lost touch with morality and believe that they could do whatever they want with no regard. He said whilst there is a need to protect young persons from such events and activities, he does not believe that there is a direct link to such events and rape. On the other hand, he said he can see why there is a correlation.
Well, I don't think you should correlate that to rape. As a matter of fact, whether you see a woman scantily clad or naked, you have no right to rape that person. The person has a right to dress as they please. But it does with our young people, with their mindset and so on. The person does not have the self-control that adults should have. Then you're actually trying to look for problems there. But a woman, not because of her nudity and a dress mode that we should say that she shouldn't do it and so on. But in all fairness, I think we should not expose our young men and women to these sort of things.
The minister also had some words for promoters of such events.
Well, the persons who are promoting these things, it will not be allowed in St. Lucia. As long as we find out that this is going to happen, they will not get permission to go along with that activity. And if the activity slips through and we find out that it is going on, we will stop it.
Francis said St. Lucia is far from ready for such a lifestyle. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
The Department of Fisheries is sending out a word of caution to fishermen and small craft operators to avoid venturing out into choppy waters or to practice extreme caution for the very least. Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Thomas Nelson says it is also vital that fisherfolk stay equipped with the vital tools that could be life-saving out on the waters, given expectations of major sea swells.
The winter swells are still in effect according to the Department of Fisheries, and fisherfolk around the island are being asked to practice extreme caution for their own safety and livelihoods. According to Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Thomas Nelson, the Fisheries Department is constantly reminding fisherfolk to be careful whilst out, attempting to make their daily catch. Nelson said this time of year there is a noticeable change in the sea's temperament.
This time of year, around December into January, we usually notice sometimes quite significant increases in sea conditions. Particularly swells or wave activity. And the Department of Fisheries is always concerned, and through our extension officers, we always discuss and tell fishers at the landing sites that they should be mindful of bad sea conditions.
Nelson said climate change has a part to play, causing adverse weather to be more frequent, and so he urged fishers to be on the lookout.
Certainly, it poses a serious threat to the fishers' lives, livelihood, and the activities that can impact their families as well. When fishers ignore these advisories, it could have very adverse conditions or adverse results on their lives and their families. We have had a number of instances in the past where fishers do not pay attention to these advisories, and therefore they get into distress out at sea. And therefore that makes it difficult even for first responders like the Marine Police and neighboring islands to respond and to really provide assistance to these fishers.
With the infamous winter swell, Nelson said experienced fisher folks should really know better.
Fishers would be even more in the know in terms of these increases in swells or wave activity. So once again, fishers should be mindful of these adverse sea conditions and take all necessary precautions during this time of year.
Some of the precautionary action to which Nelson referred included staying away from the water once advisories have been issued, securing vessels, and in the event that fishers do venture out to sea, ensuring that they are fully equipped with all the required tools as listed by the department. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Now, Express de Zille has announced that it will be suspending all operations between Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, and St. Lucia due to heavy swells and dangerous seas. The suspension will be in effect from the 10th of January to the 14th. A resumption of the schedule is expected on Wednesday, the 15th of January, if sea conditions allow. The company said that the schedule between Guadeloupe and Marie-Galante will be maintained for the time being, with the exception of midday rotations. The suspension is being implemented to ensure passenger safety. Weather forecasters have said the region will be affected by heavy seas due to a strong surface high pressure that is building north of the area. It is expected to produce strong easterly winds and waves up to 12 feet. In other news, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet will deliver his New Year's address to the nation on Sunday, the 12th of January at 8 p.m. It will feature a review of 2019 with projections and outlook for St. Lucia in 2020. The Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service will touch on key areas including security and justice, healthcare, education, investments, major projects, and speak about the continuing journey to bring empowerment to the people and plans to build a new St. Lucia. The address will be carried simultaneously by local television stations. That's at 8 p.m. this Sunday. Meanwhile, the government has concluded the first in a series of meetings in preparation for the 2020-2021 estimates of revenue and expenditure. According to Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, 2020 will be an exciting year with the construction of new schools and school blocks, the continuation of the island-wide road rehabilitation project, the construction of new health and wellness facilities, and the rehabilitation of existing health centers and world-class sports facilities. He said he is grateful to the staff of the Ministry of Finance for their dedication and hard work which they have put in to ensure that the government can achieve the targets that it set. The planned projects, programs, and legislative amendments will redound to the benefit of every St. Lucian. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, police boots on the ground in Marshall. A religious leader weighs in on a viral video that has sparked discussions of the occult. And as Barbados' Prime Minister reiterates the intention to do away with common entrance, St. Lucian youth leaders debate the pros and the cons. That and more coming up.